Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna talk about on how I put together those animations for that little short film that you saw a while ago, as well as I did it on the intro that you're seeing right now. But before we get started, as always, a shout out to my level 2 patrons. There are 2 levels in my patrons if you want to join. Link in the description down below. Follow me on Twitter, Discord, all the good stuff. And let's get started. So here we are in this little level that I created just to test out the parkour animations. It looks like a tutorial level from a video game, but the purpose of it is so we can talk about some of the animations that I used for the short film and how did I use it. For that, you of course are going to need a Metahuman, or if you're using a custom character, you can use whatever character you want. However, I'm going to do things that are specific to a Metahuman. So as you can see, I have him in the same clothing that I did for that last short film that I made. He's in sneakers, clothes that look very comfortable. And we're gonna talk about the attachments that we had in another video. For now, let's just focus on the animations. Before we actually use the Metahuman, which by the way, if you don't know how to create a Metahuman, there's some videos in the channel on how to do that and how to bring the Metahuman inside Unreal Engine. But the thing you need to do for these animations to work, because we're going to be using third-party animations, some that I bought from the marketplace not too long ago, you need to change your Metahuman in order for these animations to be retargeted. The first rule that I always have whenever I'm purchasing animation, whether it's from the marketplace or from somewhere else like ArtStation, CG Trader, TurboSquid, because now they also have stuff made for Unreal Engine in particular, make sure that they have their rigging made for the epic skeleton. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge pain to retarget these animations to the Metahuman and any other character inside Unreal for that matter. Now, this would make for a super long video, but fortunately they have all the process laid down over here. If y'all have any trouble with this, please let me know in the comment section down below and I'll make a dedicated video for this. Otherwise this video is going to be over an hour. But what I want to show you is that in this website that I'm going to leave in the link in the description down below, they have everything you need to do step by step with pictures and all the things you need to do to get your Metahumans retarget to any animations that it uses the epic skeleton. So just to show you a couple of things that I do have on my Metahuman. So as you can see, you have to change the spine. So spine 01 is actually spine 02 on the Metahuman, spine 02 is spine 03, so on and so forth. You also need to match the poses for the UA mannequin skeleton, because as you can see, most of the animations that you purchase from the marketplace are done with the mannequin skeleton. And fortunately, the Metahuman does have a retarget pose that you can use. And here is the step-by-step on how to use it. Again, this is a very straightforward process, but I know some people are new to the engine. So please, if you're having trouble with this, I would like for you to let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll make a dedicated video on that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to leave this here and we're going to focus on the animations. If you are not familiar with game development, or if you've never done anything in game engines before regarding animations, you may not be familiar with the concept of root motion. So let me show you. Let's actually go into some of the animations. All right, so this is the map with all the animations this pack contains. I highly recommend this pack. Again, not sponsored, bought it with my own money, but I do recommend it because it's so high quality. And if I'm not mistaken, I did feature this on the assets that I recommend. So in order for us to see what's going on, we have to go into simulate, because I don't want to play the game, just hit play. You can see the animations rolling. And the reason why I like to come to this map is because I don't have to go into the folder. I can just see the animations that I want to retarget, pick the animation, and then do the retargeting. Now let's pick this one, because we already have a retarget of this animation. But what I want to show you is what is the effect of the root motion. So if we go here and I actually have the skeleton turned on, you don't have to, it's just for demonstration purposes. You can see, if you've ever purchased anything that's rigged for Unreal Engine, it has an extra bone that goes right down to the bottom of the pelvis. That is the root motion bone. And the reason why this exists is because when you move your character forward, if you're playing a video game, when the controller translates the character forward, or any direction for that matter, the root motion goes with the controller. So in that case, this root motion will actually move with the player capsule, player controller, whatever you want to call it, and that would create the actual interaction. Now, the issue is, as you can see, every time this animation loops, he goes back. The issue with root motion animations is that they have translation, and because they have translation, it can be a problem whenever you're trying to mix them with other animations. Now, I'm going to show different types of ways that I did this, and just pick the one you want. One of them is very janky, but it's the easier one. Another one's a little bit more complicated and takes a little bit more time. So choose whatever suits your needs. Now, just to show you real quick how to retarget an animation, let's grab this one because I don't have this one. I have several animations already retargeted. But the way that I do it is I just click on the mannequin here doing the action. I click the magnifying glass, it's going to take me to where that animation is. Right click, retarget animation asset and duplicate animation asset because you don't want to affect this one that you already have. So when I click here, you're going to see that I already have a Metahuman based skeleton. If you did the steps from the website correctly, your Metahuman based skeleton should show up here so you can retarget. Now, all you have to do is don't move any of these. I never do. Just hit retarget and it's going to save it. In this case, it saves it to the content folder. You can move it to another folder if you want to. I have my retargets here in this folder. So I'm just gonna drag it here, move it here, and there it is. Now it's inside that folder and we can use it with our Metahuman. Let's grab another one because this one looks fun. Okay, we got this one, the traversal across the bar. I'm gonna do the same thing, duplicate, retarget. There you go, it's made one, and I'm just gonna drag it into my folder to keep things somewhat tidy. And we're gonna go back to the level that we were at initially. For that, I usually just go to levels. It was called parkour test. This will end the session. Yep. Okay, here we are. And we may need to add some bars at the end. That's fine. And we have our Metahuman right here. So the first thing we need to do is create a sequence for everything to work. So we're going to cinematic, and I already have a sequence here. Next thing that we need to do is, of course, add our Metahuman. In this case, I'm just going to select him, drag and drop him over here. And as soon as you drop him, you're going to see that it loads with the control rig and it loads with the facial control rig. So if I go into the face control rig, you can see it's right here, and the Metahuman controller with all the manipulators. Now, what we need to do is we need to get rid of these if we want the animations to work. So I'm just going to click delete and click delete. All right, now we have our Metahuman as it is, and we can go into the body, click on track, click on animation, and look for the animation that we need. And we have all the retargeted animations. We also have some other animations over here that I have retargeted from other packs, but we're just going to be using the ones from the parkour test. So let's get started with the sprint. So if I go into animation, I'm just going to type sprint, and I have both traversal sprint movement. So I'm going to pick this one, and as you can see, this one has translation forward, and it does that, which don't be alarmed, your Metahuman is okay. It's not going to be actually in pieces. It's just when it's out of the animation, it just looks like that, so weird. But the problem with this animation is if we loop it, so let's say we want him to run for a little bit further, he's not going to do it. You can see that when he gets here, he's just going to go back, back, back. So that is terrible for what we're trying to do. This is good if you're making a video game. This is definitely not good if you are trying to make a cinematic. All right, so I know it looks weird. Don't worry about that. He'll be fine once we bring in another animation. Now what we need to do is we actually need to remove the root motion translation from that animation. So if I go here and I search for sprint, because those are very long names, you can see that I have two. Now just for demonstration purposes, I made another one because one doesn't have the root motion translation. As you can see, this one is in place and is exactly what we need. All right, so this is the animation in its default state. And what we need to do is we need to force root lock. The reason why we want to do that is because we don't want the root to translate in any direction. So we can click here, just like I had in the other animation, and just save your asset. Now in this case, when we go back into the animation track and we type sprint, we're going to pick up this sprint and you're going to see that he is translating, which means that I didn't fix it here. So let me force lock, save, and that should have fixed it. There you go. Now the beauty of this is that we can make him loop and run in place for several takes. The issue is we are going to have to do the translation ourselves, and that is not always super accurate, but we're going to try to match it to the movement as best as we can. So I'm going to translate him, and when I talk about translation, let's just move him. I'm going to move him all the way back here. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to click on the BP runner test track and we're going to click on transform. So this is going to give us a transformation track that we can, he's not going to transform in anything, it just means how you're going to move them. And we're going to go into location because we just want to move him forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my scrubber right into the 0. And I'm going to click here so it creates some keys. Now when I go all the way down here, I can drag him all the way over here and a key is created instantly. Now this isn't going to look good because when you start keying, and if you have seen my other camera animation videos, you probably already know this, the keys always create a ease in and ease out type of animation. We want them to be linear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag a rectangle box, right click, and that is going to give me the key interpolation. So cubic is going to add that ease in and ease out. So if you see the curve is going to be in an S-shaped form. Let me actually show you how that looks. So we're going to transform locations. I just click this part right here to get this window. And as you can see, we do have an S shape on the Y, which is what's creating the transformation in this case, but we don't want an S shape. We want it to be linear because when you run, you don't run it, you don't ease in and ease out. It's usually reserved for cameras for the most part. So I'm going to delete the other axis because that doesn't happen. So as you can see, it takes him a while to actually move forward, which makes no sense. So I'm just going to drag a rectangle over these and I'm going to click on linear. And now you're going to see that he actually moves forward. Now, in order to fix this, what we can do is actually we can translate him forward a little bit further. But instead of doing that, I'm going to bring him, the first part, I'm going to bring it back a little bit more. Let's exaggerate. I think that's too much, but if we play, you're going to see that he moves. It looks a lot more convincing than before, so let's get closer to the feet and see how we are doing. Make sure there's no sliding. Okay, that looks much better. Now, usually if you are doing mocap, then you have your animation mocap exactly on how you want it. We're gonna look at mocap when I get the suit, which should be very, very soon. But for now, I'm just going to show you, because this is what most of you will probably be doing, is using Marketplace Asset, is to just deal with these animations. So again, let's see. And I think that is a fine run, to be honest. And again, if you want the animation to go all the way to where your last key is, just make the little red flag all the way down to where your animation ends. So what we're gonna do is, as you can see, he comes here and it actually looks like he is moving with the animation. It actually looks very good. So again, I'm just going to make sure that these are linear, they are. And we're going to bring our second animation. Let me make this a lot bigger. There you go. And let's scrub this all the way down. And let's look for another animation. The animation that does this, I think it's the one that says 91 centimeters cat jump. Yeah, this is the one. So always make sure to put your scrubber, whatever you want your animation to start, because that's where the animation is going to be placed. So we're going to select this fence, 91 centimeters cat jump, and you're going to see that he does that, but this also has root motion. So that's going to create a problem because we're running like this, and when we reach, he starts running not from the center of the character, but from a little bit back. So that looks like a very natural movement. All right, now what I'm about to show you, it's going to look a little bit wonky, but this has worked for me, and it's the reason why you saw the intro, because it worked. Now, the reason for this is because those animations that do have root motion translation, like the one vaulting over, so like this one over here, you could actually remove the root motion movement, but that means that you pretty much have to animate the character. So that will take away from the reason why you bought this, because you either don't know how to animate, don't have the time to animate like I do, because if I animate, it's going to take me a little while to make it work. So what we're going to do is we're going to use what's given to us by the asset. I'm going to go over here, I'm going to place my scrubber forward, I'm going to add the animation, which is this one right here, and as you can see, this one translates forward just fine, very naturally. However, we will have the problem of him going backwards. Now, I've developed a small system. It's not a big deal. It's actually pretty silly, but it does help in these cases. So as you can see, right here is the end of this animation. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our place actors, and we're going to place a cube right here. We're going to make it 0.2 or 0.1 actually, and we're going to place this where the heel of the foot is located, so we have a point of reference. So I'm just going to place it here. And again, if you are an animator, you are probably going to tell me that I'm insane, that I should be animating this myself. And I understand completely. I agree with you. However, I do not have the time to do this. Otherwise, this video would not exist. And as you can see, I actually did that before because I have several cubes going along. And what this works is as a reference to where the animation ends and where the other one should begin regarding the pivot. So as you can see, his pivot is right over here. And he isn't. Okay, so what we need to do is make sure that his heel of his right foot is at this position. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put this one a little bit further. And the reason for that is because, as you can see, his right foot ends up right there, but the other animation, he begins with his left foot down, and we don't want that. And we want them to blend in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this animation further away. I'm going to drag a little bit more of this animation so it loops. And I'm going to take it until his left foot is on the ground as opposed to his right foot, which was over here. So I'm going to scrub all the way down here, and there you go. So over here I think is good. I'm going to drag this back. And I'm going to bring this animation over here. So as you can see, right now, of course, he is transforming back. So we also need to transform him forward. What I'm going to do is go back over here, and I'm going to drag the animation a little bit further back. And we're going to drag a couple of frames so we can blend in. So let's go all the way here. If you want to blend your animation, all you have to do is drag it inwards into the other animation and that blends it instantly. So right now, if we scrub, you're gonna see that kind of makes a little bit blends as opposed to just snapping. However, as soon as the blend starts, he will want to go backwards a little bit. So that's what we need to avoid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that key over here, and right when he is going back, I'm actually going to bring him forward. What I had to do was delete this key because I cloned it from this one, and what we actually need to do is bring this one over here. And let's see how it does. He goes over here, he paused a little bit from the looks of it. There's like a brief pause and probably need a little bit further translation in this case. So it looks more natural and it looks like he's going through the box, so it doesn't matter, we can always move the box. And now you can see that he does that jump. So let's move the box so it looks to be where it should. I'm gonna move him forward, and when he places his hand, this is where the end of the box should be. Let's put it right here. And so he's like running, take a pause because there's a box here, make a jump, and awesome. That was an awesome landing. All right, let's look at the whole animation now. And I know this is a little bit wonky, but we are trying to make these animations work. The other way would be just to pretty much animate the character yourself. So he comes in, running, running, running. We may have to push that back. There was a little bit of motion there that I didn't like. So he goes like that. And we, in this case, will probably apply a little bit of Hollywood magic, which means we will change the camera a little bit so that snap doesn't become apparent. And again, that's how what you saw on that intro in the beginning. There's so many things that are faked with cameras, and because we don't have a mocap studio and I'm really not a stunt person, then we'll have to do it with these animations. So I think I need to move that a little bit further back because it's going again to be running not super accurate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position myself here and I'm going to push this one a little bit further back, not too much, probably bring a little bit. I think over there should be fine. So let's play the animation. He is running, running, stop, and boom. Alright, so that is my method for doing these animations, these chaining of different animations. And again, I will have to use a camera trick for that, not to show so jarring, but again, it did work. This animation ended up here and your pivot is back here. So what do you do in this case? You pretty much do something similar, only the pivot is a little bit more further away. So we will have to move the cube that I had here as a reference. And in this case, we're not going to have a sprint animation. We're going to have a run animation, which this pack also comes with one. So I'm going to type run. And as you can see, we have run forward. This run forward is in place and of course is back there where the pivot is supposed to be. So let's just bring this animation forward over here. And another thing that I want to do, let me rename this cube to something else, like Vault 01. There you go. Okay, we're going to make this one disappear for a little bit, just so we can make sure that we have the same feet. So let's see, he is in this position back here, and over here he is, and always never work at arm's length, so reduce that. this is the final pose and this is the beginning pose. So they're pretty much the same. In this case, we don't have to do anything harsh like we did here where we had to like re-loop again. So what I'm gonna do is, because these two are the same, he is going for a run in this case, we are just going to move him. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hold Alt so I can clone this and put it here where it should be. I need to scrub forward a little bit more. There you go, like that. And then when we, probably one more step, there you go. And then when we go here, we need to make sure that we move him to where the square is. So let me position the square where it should be, on his feet. So in the back of his heel. And when we go boom, like that, we need him to be over here. So I'm just gonna move him there. And you're gonna see that while you are doing the animation, this is going to look jarring, but once you render, it's just one frame, so it doesn't do anything. All right, so we could blend these. So I'm just gonna bring this one back. I'm going to blend it with one frame. And boom, you got a nice blend between these two with no problem. Now it's of course running in place. We're going to take care of that in 1 second. And we're just going to, let's see, drag him over here. Make sure that this is linear. Let's say what this does. That actually moves him way too fast. So I'm going to have to drag him all back here. Let's see how that works. And then you can string along the other animations. In this case, I'm going to make him jump through here as if it's a window. Now, if you have other concerns, another way how to do this, I'm all ears. Well, not all ears, all eyes in this case. Just leave it in the comment section down below. I want to see it if you have another method on how you do this, or if you have any more questions about this method. If you have any problems, always remember to join the Discord. I'm there. Admin Kirk will be there as well. If you want to help out the channel, there's the Patreon. There's the Twitter. If you want to follow me for some more updates, I do have an Instagram. And don't forget to ring the bell and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.